Hello, Facebook and Instagram. Okay, I got you guys both up. So, this is weird. Why is this different? Anyway, so I just had my coffee with a cop experience, and it was great. It was awesome. And the guys were really kind of, shocked. Like, all of them said, I talked to several of them just like, individually, and all of them said, I was not expecting that question. I was not expecting that question. So I went in, I asked them, how long you've been doing this? What's your favorite part? And then I would get to the big question, how do you use your intuition every day? And they would be like, they were all thrown. So it was kind of fun and exciting to talk to them about this. And I got lots of different answers. And I want to share some of this with you guys. And I kind of want to go over like what intuition is, because even I've heard from you guys, several of you guys, that, a lot of you aren't really completely clear on what intuition is. And I found in talking to each of these officers today that some of them had a pretty good feel for it, and some of them didn't really know what it was. So this is interesting. So I'm going to start with this. I want to start with, so I looked it up on dictionary.com, and dictionary.com has a few definitions of intuition. One says direct perception of truth or fact, independent of any reasoning process. I love this. I love this, because this speaks to what some of the officers were talking to me about today. Direct perception of truth or fact independent of any reasoning process. So without reasoning. Truth without reasoning. Immediate apprehension was one, which was really good, and often true. But I would also add the opposite, like an immediate certainty, in a good way. So intuition can be an immediate apprehension of something, an immediate knowing that something's not quite right, or it could be an immediate knowing that something's spot on and right. So also a keen, quick insight, also pure, untaught, non-inferential knowledge, knowledge or belief obtained neither by reason nor perception, and a hunch or unjustified belief. So this is interesting, a hunch or unjustified belief. So a belief that's not really justified by something, not justified by reasoning, not justified by perception or observation. Very, very interesting. Dictionary.com's got it pretty good. So my mentor says, I love this, he says, truth does not have to be justified, which is absolutely spot on, especially in relation to intuition. If intuition is an immediate direct truth, which in my opinion comes from your source, it does not have to be justified. And dictionary.com's got it on point there, saying a hunch or unjustified belief. So I agree with these definitions, and I define intuition as the direct connection with your source, no matter what you consider source to be. It could be in a religious, spiritual, scientific context, God, spirit, universe, energy, quantum physics, whatever you consider your source, your creator to be, your intuition is your direct connection with that, the line of communication that you have directly with that. And that's truth. That's absolute, pure truth. And that's what your intuition is. So, let's see. I think I'm going to get into synchronicity another time. I had it listed here, something to talk about. But for now, I just want to talk about intuition and how it went talking with some of the local police officers at this event that I just attended, Coffee with a Cop. So some of them had some pretty awesome responses. Some of them had some pretty shocking responses, shocking to me. Because, you try to go into things without expectations, but it's hard not to. Like, I had some unconscious expectations of what they might say and how they might react. So let's see. One of the guys, the first guy I talked to, he was saying that, okay, several of them. Hey, Corey, what's up? So this first officer that I talked to was talking about how intuition, he's been doing this for, I think he had said, over 20 years already. Now, in my mind, it's kind of hard to keep them all straight. I'm just kind of remembering all of their reactions and responses. So maybe I'll just talk about them in general instead of trying to remember exactly which one said what. So in general, they talked about it being something that grows, which I think is spot on. So once you start using your intuition and you continue to use it on a daily basis, it grows and it builds. and it strengthens, like just like going to work out at the gym or anything else that you do frequently and consistently. Like, you build on it and it grows and it gets stronger and easier and becomes a habit, and then just becomes completely a part of who you are. So I love that some of the officers were saying it's something that kind of, like when they first got fresh out of the academy, like they were kind of, unsure of a lot of things, and they relied mostly on their five senses, their observation, their whether or not something smelled weird in the area. Like, I remember a time I was on a ride along way back in college, and holy hell, this officer drove past this house that he knew was a meth lab, and smell the worst freaking smell. Oh my God, it smells horrible. So police use their intuition on so many levels, and their five senses, and so do you. So does every single person in the world. We all use our five senses, but we have this other sense of intuition as well. And so a lot of them were saying fresh out of the academy, they relied on their five senses, and over time they started to get gut feelings about things. And hey Austin, how's it going? Thanks for watching. So they would use their five senses to a large degree and rely on those, but then they started to get gut feelings about things, and they all refer to it as a gut feeling, which is really, really common, I know. And gut feeling is intuition. It is. It's your intuition. There's so many things you can call it, and it doesn't matter what you call it. So they said that it started to grow. It started to build. It started to get better. They started having, one of them talked about it as, referred to it as his spidey senses, which I love, because that's kind of how I talk to my son about it, as spidey senses. So it's just this extra thing that even though you may see something and know, so all of these things, all of our senses go into how we make decisions about something. So they may see something going on and know something's not right. They may hear something. They may smell something. They may whatever. They may get the hair on the back of their neck standing up. They may just have this gut feeling. They may have this uneasiness feeling. They may know something's about to happen and they don't know exactly what it is, because the rest of their five senses are not telling them exactly what's about to happen, but they know there's more going on here than what they can see, than what they can tell with their five senses. So I love that they were all, they were skeptical at first. I'll tell you, they were skeptical at first because they're like, no one's ever asked this question before. So they were a little bit skeptical, but they were open to talking about it, even though they were a little uneasy. And it was not my intention to make them feel uneasy, but, I guess anytime you're faced with a situation, you feel a little uneasy. A situation that is not common, or that you're not used to, or that you're not expecting, then, you could feel a little bit uneasy. So I love that these guys were talking about their intuition. I love that they use their gut feelings to be able to make their decisions, and they combine it with their five senses. They all work together, and I want you guys to know that in addition to your five senses, obviously you have intuition, and a lot of them. So there was one guy who was like, nope, no intuition. Intuition has nothing to do with policing, nothing to do with law enforcement. Like, you just learn people and you just observe things and you do things just like that. And he was very, very rigid about it, which is okay. It's totally okay. But I guarantee you he uses his intuition. He is far more connected than he realizes. And that's common for a lot of people. Thanks, Kristen. It was awesome. It went really, really well. And I'm super excited about it. So it just kind of was like a quick little thing, and I got a lot of responses that were really, really, really good. And the one guy who even didn't think he had intuition, he actually does. And so I want to let you guys know too, if you don't think you have intuition, you do. And I loved that these officers were like so with it, to even be able to talk about when they first started using their intuition. They could tell that over time it had grown. I think the one that I talked to that had the least amount of experience had 15 years, which is a lot. So these guys have been doing this for a long time, and they've all kind of mentioned, except for the one, that the more they do it, the more their intuition grows, and they trust it, and they take action on it. And it goes hand in hand with the rest of their five senses. It's like a system that we all have that works together to help us make decisions on what we're going to do, how you're going to respond to something, how you're going to react to something, based on all five of your senses and your intuition. So it was great. It was fantastic. Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to touch on? Austin says, everyone, whether they think they do or not, all have intuition. Absolutely. You're spot on, dude. I'm so glad to hear you say that. What else? I think that's it for now. Oh, Jaeger wants in on this. Jaeger has intuition too. He actually does. He knew that I was pregnant before I knew. Smart puppy there, you know. Okay, so you guys, I want you to, whether you realize or are comfortable with knowing what your intuition is or not, just get out there and use your intuition today. And then let me know in the comments, how did you use your intuition? What decision did you make based on your intuition? How did you take action on your intuition? Put it in the comments. Let me know. And have a fantastic day. I will be talking more about intuition for the rest of my life. Love you guys.